Still not muted.
Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, good day, depending where on earth are you. Hi, everyone listening to us on the Virtual Jack podcast. And we are here on the Rebel Labs interview with Michael Hunger, or at Messirai on Twitter. Michael just finished the VJAC session about graph databases, showed a great deal of Neo4j, and it was a great session. I enjoyed this a lot. So let me just introduce Michael. His Twitter bio said that he's a passionate, aspiring software craftsman with ideas and projects in different fields, and we can talk about that a little bit later. But in real life, he's working with Neo Technology company on the Neo4j graph databases, and he's also project lead for Spring Data Neo4j integration, so helping Pivotal a little bit as well. He's a writer. He has a couple of books. He blogs at jax.de/blog. You can find his writings there, and I encourage you to do so and to find him on Twitter and reach out and chat with him. He's a great person. Hi, Michael.
Hi, Oleg. How are you?
I'm pretty great. I just listened to an amazing session, so I'm in a really good mood. So,
Me too.
How was your online session experience? Did you have any problems?
No, actually, it worked really well. As I just returned from vacation 2 days ago, I just set it up kind of today, the last bits of the presentation, and fortunately the demo god was really friendly to me today, and there were no hiccups, and everything worked out really well, and it was really cool.
Yeah.
I'm really excited that there were no hiccups of any kind.
Yeah, that's lovely, and the demo indeed was really slick. The UI for Neo4j browser is just amazing.
Yeah, it makes it really easy to demo stuff because it's so visual, and you can immediately see what the structure of the data is and how it's related and so on, and so that makes it easy to explain to people. I like that a lot.
Let's get to Neo4j in a bit, but just start with a blitz round of questions that we ask every speaker. So, what do you think, Michael? Is computer science a real science?
Yes.
Oh, that's great. What do you like more, static or dynamic typing?
Static typing.
What's your favorite JVM language?
It's Java and Scala.
Oh, so static typing indeed. What's your favorite open source project?
Oh, there are too many. Let me think. Besides Neo4j.
Yeah, besides Neo4j, besides maybe Spring Data, because you contribute to those.
Yeah, no, I think currently my favorite one is Docker and Homebrew, actually.
Oh. Can you maybe explain that in a sentence, what it does?
Yeah, so Homebrew is an installer for macOS, which really makes it super easy to install software from a variety of sources, and it's completely community-driven. So all the software and all the updates and all the packages come from people from the community. Everyone can do it, and it's so great to get software on your Mac.
Yeah, I can confirm.
And Docker as a deployment approach it's really neat because it's almost a no-brainer to get software up and running even in complex setups and so on, and so that makes our life easier, and everything that makes our life easier is a good project.
Right. So tell me a little bit about your setup. Do you use Mac or PC, and what's the IDE of your choice?
So I use Mac for more than 10 years now, I think, and I like it because it's I'm mostly living in a shell, but it has still a slick UI that makes stuff easier. But I still have all the access to all the Unix command line stuff, which I use a lot. As IDE, I use IntelliJ. So I switched in 2003 or so from Emacs to IntelliJ 3 or 2 or something like that. So one of the earliest versions. And I haven't looked back, but I also use text editors for small stuff.
Well, yeah, for Java and JVM development, well, any IDE might be better than in Emacs. Well, though that's a holy war territory, so let's not go there. What do you think? What is the worst habit a developer can have? What is inexcusable?
The worst habit is being busy and not thinking about it. So kind of coding without thinking. So generating a lot of code that has to be either maintained or fixed or rewritten at some point, and rather take a step back, think about what you're doing, and only write the code that is actually necessary. So kind of I like the smart and lazy people more because they tend to do the minimal stuff that's needed and not just being busy bees. I think that's the worst thing that you can be.
Yeah, I think everyone can recognize people they know that are just looking super active, but the output might not be there. So let's dive into the longer questions. You had a great session on Neo4j, and we'll come to that. But you are having a lot of fun developing and using one of the fanciest databases around, like a graph database. It's just a different level than the usual relational one. So what would be your stack of choice for the new JVM app? Something to have fun on all the levels in Java projects, not just database.
Usually I try to do kind of the minimal stuff. So there's some really nice Java web frameworks like Redpack, which is really cool. And otherwise, there's also Spark Java, which is kind of a minimalistic web app stack, which I really like because it doesn't have like all the bells and whistles and all this other stuff that you don't need. And most of my apps are more like API level apps, and I'm not a front-end guy, so my front ends always look really bad. And so I stay at that level. And yeah, so Undertow is also really cool backend and fast backend application. So I'm more into like performance level stuff. So I do a lot of profiling and optimization and hotspot elimination and stuff like that. So not so much full stack development, but more performance stuff. That's I like that.
That's a really interesting area of interest. I concur that. So following up on that, and you mentioned during the session, answering to a question from the IRC chat, that Neo4j uses Unsafe, which is a kind of hot topic right now because, well, Unsafe is going to be gone soon. But let's not talk about that. Let's talk about why Neo4j uses Unsafe. So do you think it's for performance reasons or because there were no appropriate API to do the same thing, or just why? Just because you want to live dangerously?
No, it's certainly not. So if there was would have been good APIs for these things we wanted to do, then we would have used, of course, the APIs and not Unsafe. But as you know, in the JDK or in the JVM, there are several things you cannot do otherwise without resorting to write C code and using JNI. And then you also have to write more of the C code because you also have to have it integrated well without doing too many round trips from the JVM to the machine level. And so we use Unsafe for memory operations, especially also volatile memory fences and stuff like that because Neo4j is highly concurrent. And yeah, we would love if there were APIs for all of that. So memory allocation, freeing memory, volatile writes, and also something like direct access to memory segments and stuff like that. So we don't use so much the class and object related stuff of Unsafe, but really more like concurrency related primitives of functions and memory access functions especially. These are the areas that we currently use. And also some of the, for certain transport level things, we also use field level access for deserialization and serialization a bit, but not so much.
Okay.
And yeah, in general, I would love to have an API or APIs or actually cleanly specified things in the JDK that would be implemented in safe APIs that everyone could use in a responsible manner, of course, to do these things. But that's something like a really bad heritage of the JDK that no one ever cared about it, and now suddenly that Jigsaw should make Unsafe inaccessible. people start to wonder why everyone uses Unsafe, right? I mean, it's not a surprise, actually. People have been knowing then for a long time that Unsafe is widely used, right? It's not a sudden effect or something like that.
Yeah. So we are getting into a little bit political territory.
Yeah.
So but what do you think? I have a follow-up question on that. Do you think that Java developers and Java community currently is a little bit spoiled by how extremely fruitful and vivid community we have? We have so many companies that like invest loads of time into supporting all that. We have all the Java user groups. We have conferences. We have tons of people writing and doing stuff for the community, and almost everything you can get for free, right? You have like really great IDEs, you have application servers, you have the frameworks, tons of them. So does that actually make us feel a little bit entitled and being? What's your take on that?
Yeah, I think so. You're right. So, I mean, we are like the spoiled kids who have a room full of toys and can pick whatever they want to, and then they complain about when stuff doesn't work as well as they expect it to work, right? It's kind of really high expectations as well. So if you do like an open source library in Java or something like that, then people also have really super high expectations, even if you do it in your spare time, besides your kind of day job and stuff like that, right? Because they're used to that. But on the other hand, it also enables us to get stuff really done quickly, right? So there's a lot of stuff. If I had to write all the network stuff, for instance, that is in Netty myself,
Yeah.
if I would have to write stuff like Disruptor or Aaron or something like that myself, then right. So I would rather trust those people that know what they're doing to create these libraries, and I'm super, super happy that they make them as accessible and available to everyone. And we can't be grateful enough, I think, to about that. So it makes all our lives, of course, much easier and also much safer, because if people that know what they're doing write these libraries, then you have also way fewer bugs and issues and stuff like that. And they most often time they also use them in their own work environment or client environment under really high pressure and high throughput and similar scenarios. So they actually have their best interest is also that the libraries of high quality and high performance and so on. So we kind of trust that they build stuff for themselves, which is really great, and we kind of are beneficiaries of that as well. Right? So I'm super happy about that. And but of course you're right. So there's a sense of entitlement, and people sometimes I think not respectful or grateful enough for people actually investing their time and money and effort into that.
Yeah, just having all those great things just makes you expect that level of excellence from everything. And you should know about that too, because Neo4j features, I think, a community edition, which is an open source version. So can you maybe just really quickly specify what's the difference and maybe give us a peek into the next release of Neo4j and what's coming, what we should expect from the commercial open source versions?
Yeah, I can do that. So in general, Neo4j is open source throughout. So even Neo4j Enterprise is open source. So it's all on GitHub, and it's had also an HPL variant, the Enterprise version. So you can use it, for instance, in open source projects as well for free. And basically, Neo4j Community is the full transactional graph database that is also used by Enterprise. The biggest difference is that Neo4j Enterprise comes with clustering, which is not part of Community, and with additional monitoring and backup services that you need for production use. And there are some implementation details which are more tailored to high performance, multi or many core, so like beyond 4, 16, 32 core systems, which are better suited in enterprise for kind of horizontal scalability on a single machine. And but otherwise, so if you really want to go into production in a real world application, kind of a real world business application, then I think I would definitely choose enterprise to run this. But if I do just something to, for myself to get started, or something for an internal application or so, then community serves needs really well. Neo4j currently is at version 2.2, which introduced some cool stuff like the cost-based optimizer for our query language. and the high-performance input tools, which are quite impressive. And Neo4j 2.3 has a number of improvements internally around full-text search, for instance, and range searches in the query language. But there are also some groundwork being done for compiling Cypher queries to bytecode. So right now, Cypher queries are executed in a kind of interpreter-like fashion where the execution plan is interpreted by a runtime. But in a next or one of the next versions, we will have bytecode compiled queries. So we really compile your textual query down to Java bytecode so that Hotspot and the JVM can optimize it further and make really super fast queries out of that. And the other thing that's being worked on currently is a new binary remoting protocol. So my colleagues created a so the remoting is socket-based remoting and uses WebSocket for JavaScript as well. So there will be 2 endpoints more or less, and it uses a message pack inspired encoding over the wire. So we looked at I think 20 or so different encoding libraries in terms of garbage generation, in terms of compatibility with different languages, in terms of feasibility, number of bugs and stuff like that. And then it turned out that message pack wire is actually not so bad. Also in terms of, because we need dynamic content over the wire, not just fixed messages, but also dynamic sized messages and dynamic content messages. But then we wanted to have it more extensible, so my colleagues started to build something on top of message pack, which is now called Packstream. And we have a number of implementations for that now. And that really shows really nice performance improvements between at least 4 and 10 times faster than the current remoting stuff.
That's awesome. So we can expect Neo4j to become faster in the executing queries and less network intensive.
Yeah,
It's a double win. So
it's really
that
cool.
should be available around like fall.
So some of that will be in fall, and some of that will be early next year, depending on how much capacity we get. There was something else that's really cool in next Neo4j version. So in the past, we had several levels of caches in Neo4j, but due to our new page cache implementation, we don't need the higher level caches anymore. And we have our really high performance page cache, which does kind of memory mapping of files. And then from these on-disk structures, we can directly run our queries on top of these on-disk structures. So we get rid of the higher level caches, which had some garbage collection pressure issues because it's kind of premature promotion stuff and stuff like that. And so Neo4j will also be way more memory hungry, way less memory hungry, sorry, and way more stable because there will be no GC process anymore, which is really cool.
That's
and that
awesome.
will be actually in Neo4j 2.3, which comes out in fall. And actually, we deleted like 13,000 lines of code or so from Neo4j for that, which was really cool.
That's really cool. So what do you think? Did we reach the final frontier of databases with Neo4j? Because all those improvements are mostly about performance, not anything, well, groundbreakingly basic in terms of how the database is working. So are we there yet? Or what's the biggest challenge in the graph database world right now?
So I think there will be always new stuff and new ways of representing data and processing data. So I don't think we've seen the end so far. And so Neo4j is actually, interestingly, Neo4j's credo is we want to help people make sense of their data, and whatever means that is. Right now, it's for us it's a graph database, but it could be in the future that's something more than a graph database. And right now we're looking into besides the performance stuff in Neo4j itself, into graph processing, so kind of global graph crunching operations where you have like a lot of data and you want to process it in near real time, even large amounts of data. And so we made some progress there as well. And I think there's also some other areas which will be really interesting, like IBM's new memory architecture, like the KP Flash stuff, or HP's the machine stuff, or GPU processing and stuff like that. So there's still a ton of potential out there. So we can always get faster and more powerful than we are right now. Right. So we're, I think, at a pretty good spot right now, but I think there's so much more stuff that we can do, and it's, I think, mostly a limit of bandwidth and capacity what you can achieve,
Well,
but I think we made a lot of improvements already, and there's still a lot of cool stuff to come.
that's great news. That means that we'll have a lot of fun with Neo4j in ages to come. And
Yeah, I hope so.
there is work to do. There is work to do.
Exactly.
So,
I want to continue to have fun.
It's a really great kind of optimistic note. And at this point of time, I'd like to thank you, Michael, for the interview, for the great insightful answers to questions. People who are listening to us, that was Michael Hunger from Neo4j talking about graph databases, Java, and JVM technology in general. Find him on Twitter. He goes by at Mesirii, M-S-I, M-E-S-I-R-I-I
Perfect.
handle, and reach out to him. He'll be happy to respond to any questions you have or just chat with you.
Yeah,
So thanks,
I'm happy
Michael.
to. Thanks, Oleg, for having me. Yeah, was good. Thank you.